Well, hello and welcome to the Corona Aster Alchemy community. I'm Corona, and it's so good to have you here. Welcome if this is your first time. Welcome back for those of you who have been here before. And I do Chinese astrology and I do sidereal astrology. So I'm going to be taking a look at the later half of September. We just passed the eclipse, so I want to talk about that solar eclipse energy. I want to talk about things that are going on with the sun, and Mercury and Mars, well, all the planets. So so before we begin, if you want to get more of this, please make sure you subscribe. Please like this. If it speaks to you, please share it with somebody. And so I want to begin with the Chinese astrology. And so with the Chinese astrology, I talked about this in the last video, but for those of you that haven't listened to that yet and or haven't listened, it's a Yin Wood Rooster month that we're in the Yin Wood Snake year. Now the Yin Wood is about creativity, and so that's really a beautiful energy for the month. However, within Rooster is the metal energy, and the metal and the wood energy are a clash energy. And so it's creating a lot of tension and a lot of changes, as I have already been stating, and as we are all very aware, lots of big changes within our own lives and obviously in the outer world. So I hope this finds you well. Let me know how you're doing, how you've been going through these last two eclipse portals so far. Eclipses are definitely times of endings and beginnings. So we often have to let go of people, places, things, even sometimes. So, sometimes there are, really, really big life changes. So, and then I don't want to jump into the Western or slash sidereal astrology quite yet. But so I'm going to refrain from going into that. But so back to Chinese astrology, we are in that Yinwood snake year, and the snake and the rooster have decent, actually very good compatibility. And so, we've got that going for us this month too. So there is a lot of like thinking energy. Again, there's this creative problem solving energy, and just bringing creativity to the table is going to be something we can all lean into. And the solar eclipse actually happened on a yin water snake day as well. So, again, more snake energy brings in a lot of wisdom, a lot of spirituality. So, I hope that we can lean into spiritual practices, and I hope that this pretends towards, a more beautiful and spiritual future, even if it isn't looking like it at the moment. So, again, it's all about us doing our inner work, right? So that we can make the changes and be the change. And, when we find inner peace, then we find peace in the world, right? I mean, it's not a peaceful place out there at all right now, as we all know. So if you are struggling, I get it. Um, we can feel that, and there are also things that we can do to mitigate that. And I personally have a very strong yoga practice that I do, and I do offer breathwork yoga, and I highly encourage all of us to find some kind of mindful movement. And also, if you feel called to, try my pranic breathwork yoga, I would love to share that with you. It is an online class. It is currently 7 a.m. Mountain Time on Tuesdays and 7:30 on Fridays Mountain Time. So the Tuesday class is an hour. You can even just come for a half hour, and Fridays is just a little half hour. So but it is really amazing for not only creating energy in the body, but it is also great for creating that emotional resilience. And I always notice if I take a break for too long from it, that I really start to emotionally, mentally start to kind of fall apart a little more. I mean, I have really good mindset that I've gained over the years, and we all have our days. And again, the astrology will always tell us like why there's specific days that are difficult, and so there is always that. So I will definitely put a link to that below, but I just encourage you to find whatever that mindfulness practice is for you. I also love to just get out and do earthing. Of course, I talk about that all the time, and also mindfulness walks. Like, another free and accessible thing to all of us. We can all go to the park and walk around, or we can all find our neighborhood to walk around in. So yeah, even if you don't have a patch of grass and a yard yourself, there are all the parks available. I think most places there's where you can just have your feet on the dirt. Like, it doesn't have to be grass, but that feels kind of good on the feet. So anyway, yeah, so there is just a lot of change this month, as again, I know we are aware, and it's just going to continue because that is what eclipse seasons are all about. So, we are going to be feeling the ripple effects of this eclipse for some time. So you might be wondering, well, why am I even talking about it if it's after the fact? But this is very important energy. This is a new moon in Virgo. Again, I am going to get to more of the sidereal astrology here soon. And, but yeah, this eclipse energy has been really big for people that are Virgo, if they have a strong Virgo placement in their chart. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get back to the Chinese astrology and finish that up. I also want to share that that day of the eclipse being a yin water day also brought in a lot of thinking energy too, as well as that snake. So we could be, yeah, just also maybe in our head just a little too much. And that definitely blends in with the Virgo energy of that it can make us very good at critical thinking, at being very meticulous, and also that overthinking can be part of that. So, again, that's why I'm talking so much about the mindfulness practices. We're really going to have to get into that this month, and yeah. So, but yeah, there's just so much wisdom again within the Yin Water Snake Day and spiritual energy, and so that I feel like is just a beautiful thing. And yeah, so I'm loving that. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump over to the sidereal chart. And I'm going to be sharing my screen. So give me just one moment while I share that. Oops, wrong one. One sec here. All right, so you can see the chart, and I'll just be sharing about this. So I've already shared that the new moon is in Virgo. That is nice that it is both in Virgo in Western and sidereal, so we're not in confusion about that. And also the sun is now in Virgo, as well as Mercury in Virgo. So this is, the three planetary energies in this very strong Virgo energy. So yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit because that Virgo energy is so beautiful, and it is about refinement. It is about details, like I said. So it is really wanting to get to the heart of the matter of something. It's about being in service to others. And that also is in being service to the self so that we can be in service to others. Like Virgos actually naturally know that what serves them will serve others. And that is something that they are constantly kind of trying to digest and figure out. And speaking of digestion, Virgos can tend to have issues with the digestive system, especially so more stomach ache stuff. And we are in the now fall time that is ruled by the lungs and the colon. And so there is, again, that correlation within the five element system with, and that correlates to that Chinese astrology too, where again, this makes so much sense with the Virgo, like the colon energy being related. And so there is this whole energy of letting go with colon. And so this eclipse season, again, has been about letting go. There's been a lot more letting go, I feel like, on the lunar eclipse than this solar eclipse, but that's different for everybody. And I will say that we have this this Mars opposition to Chiron that has actually been bringing up. So Mars in Libra, opposition with the Chiron in Aries, is really bringing up this. It's bringing up a lot of physical and and mental, emotional, all of the above different triggers and trauma stuff. So we have definitely been, some of us getting more triggered from old things that just they need to be healed and looked at. And so if there has been a need for you to look at something, it has been coming up and flaring up. And yeah, it can be really uncomfortable because of that Mars like energy. It can express itself, right, um, in that way that can be painful. And so, and even with Chiron and Aries, again, I mean, this is a fire sign. And so, you know, yes, it can help us to be a pioneer of like new ideas around like, how do I heal this? And going in those new directions and taking that initiative action, you know, the Aries is able to do, the ruler here of Aries. Yeah. I mean, this energy is this warrior energy is this very initiatory energy. So we can definitely have a lot of like this impetus to actually make the change, which is really beautiful. Because again, Virgo season is about our health and healing, and that's, I think, what most people know it as, and that's great. But you know, it goes a lot deeper than just health and healing. But I think it is a beautiful time to embrace whatever that may be for you. So I know for myself personally, I have struggled with some things that were causing me to not have the energy that I needed to do the workout that I have been wanting to. And so I've been able to get back to a little bit more running and just a little bit more weightlifting and just some things where, you know, I'm feeling like I'm getting more in balance and stronger. And it's been just a tough year for me. But in the fall, it's, you know, yes, in this northern hemisphere, like the days start to cool. And so that can make it easier to get outside and do these different activities physically. But we just all have that energy more, especially with Sun, Moon, Mercury in Virgo. And so it's just so beautiful that we have that supportive energy. And then, yeah, even though, you know, unfortunately, again, some of us have been having to go through some really major triggers to be like, oh, I have to do this healing work. You know, it's something that I can't, you know, I can't repress it any longer because Mars in Libra is about balance. And it's like, no, we got to balance this out. We got to figure this out. So, yeah, but, you know, so with Mercury being conjunct the sun and moon, we have just, again, you know, more of this desire to get into the details, to really speak about the details, to really communicate in general. I mean, it's again back to the Chinese astrology, it's the rooster month. So we're already like really wanting to speak out, speak truth. And this Virgo, or excuse me, Mercury and Virgo energy is also helping us to have this discernment. And it will want us to speak up, but it will help us, yeah, to like be a little bit more cautious and careful about how we speak and what we speak. And so this is a really great time to actually work on our relationships, especially with Mars being in Libra. Now, you know, yes, Libra is about relationships, and Mars being here doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be easy, but it will, you know, have a desire to work on relationships. So this is a good time to really think about like, how can I be working on, you know, my boundaries and my conscious communication and, you know, just all these different things that will help us in relating to one another better. And I do have a conscious communication class coming up. I've talked about it already, and it is coming up on September 30th. I will have the link below. It is a local one. It's not online. So for those local, I would love to have you. It's Tuesday, the 30th at 7 p.m. at the Awakening Oracle. And again, I will have the details below, but yeah, it's a group where we're just going to learn some of the basics of nonviolent communication. I call it conscious communication. And then we practice together. We're going to come up with scenarios together. And yeah, so it'll be really great to discuss like any, you know, issues that we are having currently with like, how do I bring this up and how do I talk to somebody about it and have that difficult conversation, but say it with love, say it with kindness, say it with firmness, and say it, say our truth in a way that we get our needs met, and then we get heard, we hear the other person. There's this active listening, there's this, attentiveness to the other. It's not all about like just us getting our point made or us being right. So this is just something that we have to work on collectively right now, especially so with Mars in Libra. It's not necessarily an easy place in the world because Mars, yeah, when it's in Libra, Libra is lorded by Venus. And so this Mars and Venus, it can be very passionate, but it can also be a fighting energy, and it can be a little bit more warlike. So that is why we are seeing some of this go out, playing out. And, I listen to a very small amount of news and social media, but, obviously I'm aware of things, and I'm not in the dark. So, it's just something that we all need to see, is that, yeah, even though you would think that Libra is going to be all about balance, and so war, Mars being in that, it's like, oh, that just sounds like, oh, it's going to be all about making peace. But it's not. It's kind of like the Magi astrology really shows this as well. If you have a Mars Venus relationship with somebody, I mean, you can just get along with them so well, but then you can just fight with them like crazy. And I've had a relationship with somebody like that, like an actual like romantic relationship, and it was obviously why I'm not with that person anymore, because we did have that, and when it was lovely, it was lovely, and when it wasn't, it just wasn't. So I'm not a huge fan of Mars and Libra, but we're going to be here for a little while, into October. About halfway through October, I'll have to check the dates on that, but not forever. We'll get through it. And, again, it is going to help us to create some balance in ourselves and in the world. So it is still a good time it is an excellent, not just still, it is an excellent time to work on relationships, even if it is difficult. This is the time to be learning to how to consciously communicate, and just learn more about yourself, learn what your values are, learn your needs, how you're feeling, learn to get in touch with not only your feelings, but then how to express them. That's a lot of work right there for a lot of us. So anyway, and I just want to say really quickly that I love the Nonviolent Communication book by Marshall Rosenberg. Yes, I've talked about it several times before, so I'll continue to bring that up. And you can get it on Audible, which is really lovely because Marshall Rosenberg is the one reading it, and he has just such a lovely voice and such a fatherly archetype. I think you'll really enjoy that. So anyway, yeah, and then we've got this opposition with this solar eclipse with Saturn in Pisces, and I mean Neptune in Pisces too. But there's this exact opposition with Saturn at 4 degrees, the Moon at 4 degrees, and so with Saturn in Pisces, again, we can be leaning into more compassion and things, but then also there can be some things that can be hidden from us, and that we can just want to fall back in old patterns or unhealthy, addictive patterns and old beliefs. Saturn rules beliefs. And so, again, some people are choosing to just go into the old beliefs and stick to following what other people and authorities say, instead of really checking in with their own heart and learning about something and seeing if it really does feel like love in action. And that just keeps coming up for me, the whole, Marshall Rosenberg talking about love in action. And, how does that look, when we are speaking to somebody with kindness, with love, with respect, and not talking down to them or at them or interrupting them or all those other things. And so, this is a time where there's still a lot of rigidity of beliefs, because people just want to stay in their old beliefs, and they want to stay in the illusion with that Neptune conjunction. Even though these are both in retrograde, it softens the energy, but there can still be a lot of this illusion, as we are seeing in the world. So, and this came to me right before the video, that I just was thinking about this whole, lead me from the unreal to the real. And that might be a good mantra for us this month. So yeah, I'll put that in the link as well, just as a reminder. But yeah, I just feel like this is a time to really focus on that. And then another mantra I love that my mom reminded me about is, the something about however you want to word it exactly, but I'm always at the right place at the right time. And, that can be really helpful because sometimes we get worried, like, am I going to travel on the right day? Am I going to be here at the right time, the right place? And I get really out in the weeds with the astrology, being an astrologer, obviously, and it can be very helpful and it can help me to have more control over my life. And it can also make me, obviously a little bit more cautious and rigid. And I have to be careful of, being overly worried if I get into every little nuance. And also, there's important things that we do in our life that we want to make sure that we're doing things according to the best days and the best timing. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to stay healthy and safe. So there's just a lot of that Virgo energy, of course, like I said, with so speaking with that discernment, but then also, there may be a lot of talk about health, and I think we'll see more of that in the media. And we already have. I know there's a conversation going on about autism right now, and what is maybe really what happened or what is happening with why the rates of autism have continued to skyrocket. So, that's just one thing that I know has been a news headline. But yeah, so I think we'll continue to kind of hear more of that while Mercury continues in Virgo with more health topics too. So that's kind of interesting. Just another side note. But yeah, really, I think that's most of what I want to share here. I think I'm going to leave the sidereal at that. And then I don't know if I really have more to share other than I do Chinese astrology readings. I would love to share with you. I've been having so much fun sharing people's charts and helping them. I tend to find a lot of people that are wanting to become business owners. So that's always fun for me to guide people through astrology to figure out like again, timing and, maybe what it is that they want to do and where their strengths are and maybe, again, the weaknesses and then who to work with. And, we can get into dates and things too, if that's something that people want. But yeah, it's been super fun. So if you want to get your Chinese astrology chart, I will put a link below that you can access a chart. And then I'll put my link to the Chinese astrology readings that I do. I do individual charts, I do relationship readings, and then I do the strength-based dates so that you can find the best dates for important things in your life. And especially if you're a business owner, I highly recommend that. But yeah, let me know how you're doing through this solar eclipse portal, this whole eclipse portal season. We are definitely going to be continuing to feel these energies for the next couple of weeks until we get to that next full moon. So again, it is a new moon. I mean, there are new beginnings. I hope that there is some beautiful new beginning happening, even if, again, there's some letting go, or even if it is a hard new beginning, it's, your health isn't going to be improving. You get to get a new lease on life, something really beautiful. So I'm excited. I always say that it can take a few days sometimes for us to figure out the new moon energies. I don't know, for me around this one, I was actually out on Vision Quest right before and during the new moon. So I was able to really kind of get pretty honed in on my new moon intentions, but it's totally fine if a couple of days after you're still figuring it out. So just make a little time and set that intention to figure out what that is. And so that's always super fun to, if you haven't already, to figure out those intentions, those seeds, and then carry that forward the next few days. But I am actually doing this on Wednesday and the 24th, and the energy today is not like the greatest for like carrying forward a new idea. So, and even tomorrow is going to be not as easy or good. So maybe Friday or even into next week more like, so again, just plant those seeds, but I wouldn't maybe necessarily start a really big new project like as of today. You can start it, just not necessarily share it with the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, because it is a closed day, and so it is a lower energy day. I know I've been feeling it. Yesterday was Tuesday, the 23rd, was a Yin Wood Goat Day. It was really lovely, really creative energy, very peaceful energy, spiritual energy. I was on a walk with a friend. We had just started the walk, and I saw a blue heron down on the river, which blue heron is a very special totem to me. My business is Blue Heron Holistic Health. I know here I just call it the Karena Astro Alchemy Community, but yeah, so blue herons are super special. And I'll have to share that story here for those of you that haven't heard it. That'll be a fun little video to do. But yeah, so thank you guys. It's been really fun. Again, thank you for subscribing. Please make sure you like the video. Let me know again how you're doing with this eclipse season. The changes that we are experiencing will ripple out into the next 6 months, and or things will happen from this one in the next 6 months for you that are supposed to happen. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I didn't even talk about the nakshatra. So as I have shared with some of you, I am still learning the Sidereal Astrology. I was a Western astrologer and I did switch. And what's really fun is that I see how I still listen to Western astrologers, and it can be confusing to me now a little bit to try to go the back and forth, but it's also kind of fun. But what's interesting is that both systems like say things in different ways, but similarly, right? So just know that I feel like we're all saying the same thing. We're just saying it in a different way, and sometimes we're not saying obviously exactly the same thing at all, but other times it's pretty interesting. So it's kind of fun, just how, yeah, it's like, there's obvious Libra energy. And like, I think in Western, it's already, the sun is already in Libra, whereas the sun just went into Virgo, like on the 17th here in the sidereal system. So anyway, so yeah, some people are like, oh, I'm a Libra. And it's like, and there's nothing wrong with people like feeling attached to a certain way, because we can really feel those energies strongly. But I will tell you that our sun, moon, Mercury, and Mars planets, those are what we call the personal planets. They will always show you why. Like when you switch to the sidereal, if you were like a Libra sun sign and then you move to a Virgo sun sign, if you really felt very attached to that Libra energy, it's because you probably have some other strong placement, one of those, and or the ascendant that's actually in Libra. So anyway, it's just super fun to like show people and see. So that's something else that you can look into. I also put a link below to the AstroSeek, so you can do your sidereal astrology calendar as well if you want to check that out. But yeah, so we will be feeling things ripple out in the next 6 months. And again, sometimes we just don't really know what those things could even be. Like we could have really no clue, but usually like something that kind of happened like a month before the eclipse or a month after. I mean, it's not always quite that much, but it is about, yeah, like I think it's about 3 weeks out on either side. So important places we go, people we meet, events, things, there can be these little telltale signs, and we have no idea what those get to be. And that's just where the magic happens. And it's just so much fun to like see how things happen for people, even when they unravel. I'm like, oh wow, okay, that last eclipse really got you, even though maybe during that eclipse season, like the actual like 2-week window, or again, during the maybe 6-week window, right? Like they might have been like, oh, I mean, life was fine. I went through it pretty good. There's a little ups and downs, but no big deal. But then this like really huge change happens for them a little while later because of somebody they met and or somebody made a decision, and it just totally altered and changed the course for them. Yeah, like I heard recently about a friend's business partnership ending, and that was a fallout from the last eclipse. So yeah, super interesting how those things can happen. And sometimes it's always fascinating too, how it will happen like literally the day of, or like day before after eclipses. So let me know too, yeah, what you guys experienced. Cause I know with my last eclipse, like, man, there was a big letting go at that full moon one, like the day after. I was like, it had something to do with business, and I just was very shocked. It's not something I feel I can share publicly, or else I would. It's just, I'm not one to talk about people, and there's just a lot of nuances to this. But anyway, um, the point is that it was just a very strange and shocking and surprising and saddening event for me. And I was just like, okay, well, letting that go, and that's okay. So anyway, I'm super curious if you want to share anything. And as always, take good care of yourself, get into your mindful movement. I hope that you can really embrace these new health changes. I'm just so grateful for the energies that are really helping me achieve greater health and feeling even better in my body. So I hope you can go for that energy as well. And blessings on your day. Thank you again. Take good care, and I'll see you in a couple weeks, if not sooner. All right, thanks for now.